Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Wednesday, July the 2nd, 2025. Wednesday, July the 2nd. Well, guess who's back, y'all? Selena Wu. And just as fast as she returned on screen, she's allegedly exiting for some time in the distant future. Or not. See, here's the deal. Sidwell summoned Selena to Spoon Island. She's thinking it's because he's finally ready to set up this high stake poker game. She says she already has a couple of players ready. And he says, "Oh, no, that's not why I summoned you here. I'm letting you know you about to go to war." And she says, uh, there must be some mistake. I'm not going to war. And he says, yes. And she says, with whom? And he goes, oh, Sonny Corinthos. She says, I have made sure for years that I have stayed on the good graces of Sonny Corinthos. I have gone to great lengths to do that. He says, well, there was a fire at Charlie's, and his daughter Christina happened to have been in there. And once that they trace down the arsonist, and they will, it's going to be two of your men. And she looked at him. She says, like, well, I'll be doggone, right? So she says, I will just go to Sonny Corinthos and tell him what happened. He's known me a lot longer than he's known you. And Sidwell says, well, that is if you live long enough to get a couple of words in once he finds out it's your man. And she looked at him. He says, so it's best for you to leave town tonight. And she stops and she says, so you expect me to walk away from a business I've spent decades building? And he said, it's either that or getting killed. He says, you could come back in the not too distant future. So she says, in order for me to be able to come back, that means Sonny Corinthos will have to be dead. That means you're going to have to take care of Sonny Corinthos. And he goes, oh, and I'm going to do just that. So she looks at him and she says, well, I guess I'm getting on a plane, or I've got a plane to catch. And she walks out. He's got his drink in his hand. Good. Yeah, good. Now, the only problem that I have with this, seriously, everybody, does Selena Wu ever give up that easy? Does she? See, Sidwell doesn't know Selena Wu. And here's the thing, if the writers write it that way and they actually have Selena disappear, then the writers don't know Selena Wu that well. Because one thing, because he says, I'll allow you to come back at a later date. I mean, get this. I will allow you to come back. Sidwell has already decided he's taken the head position. Because remember, it's Sonny and Selena. Yes, Sonny's the head. But realistically, who got rid of the competition? I'm going to tell you with Selena Wu. Remember, Jason and Carly were getting married, but the other three family heads, because there was no longer five, it was Carly and the other, yeah, maybe it was five. It was the other three and Selena, or maybe it was the other two and Selena, who cares, right? They all took a vote that they were eliminating Carly and Jason because they did not want really Jason to be in charge. Because by osmosis, him marrying Carly, Jason would really be the head. Selena got outvoted. So, in other words, there had to be two other people for Selena to be outvoted because Carly wasn't voting. Did Selena go along with that? Now, we didn't know it at the time, but Selena went and warned Jason and Carly. Now, Jason may have set up the person that bombed the cars that the two mob bosses were getting in. They were getting in the same limo. Or Selena did it. Didn't say because don't care. It happened. Right? Bam, they're gone. That only left Selena and Carly on the table. Okay? That's nice. Sonny came back home. But anyway, Selena would not be stupid enough to buck Sidwell in front of his face and show her hand. But I'm going to tell you something. If that woman just walked away like that, she's not no mob boss. She's not a mob boss at all. Because she does know Sonny and Sonny knows her. Okay? She could go to Sonny and right now, because Sonny don't know, it hasn't led to her men yet. She could go to Sonny right now, even though Sonny's going to be questioned by Anna, but that's inconsequential, right? She could go to Sonny right now and say, look, I just left Spoon Island where I was informed by Jen Sidwell that I'm going to war with you. And Sonny will say, what do you mean? She goes, oh, he paid off my men to bomb Charlie's. To fire arson Charlie's to frame me so you would go to war with me. As a matter of fact, he told me that I need to leave town tonight. So she should let Sonny know. So I'm letting you know, Sonny, it absolutely was not me, because you know me. It was definitely Jen Sidwell. Now, I'm going to leave town to make him think that I'm doing what he told me to do. But I want you to have the heads up that you're in a war. And it's not with me. And then she could leave. Seriously. She don't just tiptoe at the cover of darkness just because the wannabe head of Port Charles, the newbie that none of them know, told her. Because guess what? A man like Jen Sidwell, would he welcome Selena Wu back to Port Charles? Would he? Heck no. Soon as she gets on that plane, Jen Sidwell's going to take her territory. And that's exactly what would happen. So Selena needs to fight for it. She's any kind of mob boss, she better do like Sonny's doing and fight. Doggone it. We'll see where they go with that. Now, um, we have Jason and Sunny. They were talking, and they're like, okay, pretty much we know. Sunny says, I know it was Sidwell. Know it. And Jason said, okay, so what do you want to do? He said, first of all, he said, it's like this, an eye for an eye. And so Jason says, okay, so that means you're going to go after Marco, Sidwell's only son. And Sonny says, if Marco is collateral damage, so be it. Ooh, that kind of scared me when he said it, right? So be it. Meaning, I'm not planning to murder Marco, but my retaliation will involve him, and he better have 9 lives to survive, right? He better have somebody driving by and dousing his flames, okay? Or somebody driving by to scoop him out of the car that's rolled off the side of the road and give him medical attention like Lucas, right? But the message will be plain that you went after my family, now I went after yours. Now, you better not go after not another one of mine, because yours is going to be wiped off the face of this earth, right? So Marco comes out after seeing Natalia, and he's talking to Lucas. And Anna had questioned Lucas about, Marco had received texts on his phone, and and Lucas says, yeah, from his mother. It was such gibberish, we couldn't make heads or tails of it. But Marco felt she was drunk, because when she's drunk, she does that. He says, and me trying to read them, it looked like she was drunk to me. And so Anna says, okay, do you remember what they said? And Lucas says, no, not without Marco's phone. I wouldn't, because it was gibberish. Yeah. So she goes, okay. And then Lucas explains how blah, blah, blah. And then Marco let it, right? So Marco comes out, and he's sitting there and he's saying, what happened? What do we know? And Anna's saying, well, we don't have or actually Dr. Gannon may have been there, that we're waiting for the autopsy to come back. I mean, the preliminary tests that they've done, because they have not done a full autopsy on her. He just left the room with her. But they did send blood work to the lab. And Dr. Gannon said, he told him how when she arrived, actually, when the paramedics got to the hotel, there was no heartbeat, which should let Marco know, he's just not thinking. Had he got to his mother, there was no heartbeat. By the time he would have called the paramedics, the same thing would have happened. So he says, we did find a large amount of alcohol, and he may have even said the alcohol, I don't know, I didn't care. He says, but we found an overdose amount of whatever a tranquilizer that she had, right? And so, but he said we'll know more once an autopsy is done. So we know Marco's going to approve of that. But anyway, he's sitting down with Anna and Lucas and Chase, and he says, look, I don't care what that says. My mother would not have done this to himself. And I'm thinking, well, baby boy, you don't know your mama that well, because your mother actually was trying to emotionally blackmail you. She wanted you to get there and save her, which was a horrible thing to do to your child, because What if he would have got there too late? Like he did. Didn't even get there. Stupid. I mean, and I know suicide's a touchy subject, and I'm handling this delicately, but I was saying that was a stupid plan. But see, the plan of a drunk woman and a woman that was high off of narcotics or tranquilizers, getting ready to pass out. Because she and Marco have a horrible relationship. To count on him actually picking up the phone and coming, that was a far-fetched plan. She probably would have done better calling Sidwell, right? But anyway, he says, if my mother, and so he goes, I have to ask, why were you at the hotel? Did my mother call 911? Did my mother call for help? And Anna said, no, that the ADA got wind that your mother was a flight risk and she wanted me to detain your mother. And when we got there, she didn't answer the phone. I mean, answer the door. So they had to use master key. And she was already passed out on the couch. Now, the funny thing, when Anna tells him that, Anna does not mention the booze in the empty pill bottle, which was so interesting to me. Why did you not mention that, Anna? She could have definitely said, it appears she drank a full decanter of alcohol and took however many pills were in her bottle. We don't know, an undetermined amount, right? So anyway, that's when Dr. Gannon walked up and he explained. But anyway, so Chase says, okay, but how did like what led you, the ADA, to think so? And so Chase says, well, at Sonny Corinthos's granddaughter's christening, your mother showed up and she and Sonny went outside to talk. And your mother looked upset. And he goes, well, what were they talking about? And Chase says, oh, I don't know. See, and here's the thing. Nobody could even say they were arguing. Nobody could even say there was any raised voices. But you could just see on Natalia's face when she sat down, and you gonna deal with me. You knew it, right? So anyway, anyway, he says, Sonny Corinthos. Sonny Corinthos is behind this. I know it. Sonny Corinthos did something to my mother. And Anna says, what would make you feel that? He goes, because, and Lucas says, Marco, you're upset. Perhaps you need to take a minute and perhaps you need to calm down, Marco. You need to calm down. And he looked at Lucas because he was getting ready to implicate himself, right? And Anna's looking and she noticed how smooth Lucas kind of calmed that situation down, right? So anyway, he goes, you're right, you're right. I am so upset, Commissioner. And so she goes, no, 100% you're right. I will need to question you regarding the fire at Charlie's, but we could do that tomorrow. And he says, okay. So she ends up going in to Sonny's because she's going to bring him in for questioning, right? So when she walks away with Chase, Marco looks at Lucas and says, oh my God, thank you so much for stopping me. I almost implicated myself. Yeah, you did, fool. Yeah, you did. Right? So Lucas says, okay, now listen, Marco. He goes, oh my God. And he goes, I don't have my phone. I need to call my father to let him know what happened because his phone is still in the car at the parking lot at Charlie's. So Lucas says, I want you to go get checked out by Dr. Gannon. And he goes, I told you, I'm fine. He goes, listen, that wasn't a request, Marco. It's doctor's orders. I'm ordering you to go get checked out by Dr. Gannon. And he looked, he goes, I will reach your father. So he goes, okay. Because he goes, I can't even tell you a digit of his phone number because I'm upset. But in reality, y'all, how many of us, we have all had cell phones that dial for us so long. How many of us truly remember all of our family members' phone numbers? Seriously, that's rough, right? I know all my adult children's phone numbers, because they're a lot like mine. They've had them since they were teenagers and some, in elementary school. So the prefixes are the same, area code and prefixes are the same, just the last four are different. So it's easy for me to remember. But anyway, um, Lucas goes to Elizabeth. Elizabeth looks up the nurse's balls information because remember, Jens was the sole sponsor of the nurse's ball. So his phone number was there. Lucas calls him and he tells him that, Mr. Sidwell, this is Lucas Jones from General Hospital. I need to inform you that your son Marco is at General Hospital. And he goes, Marco, what's wrong with Marco? No, he goes, no, Marco, it's fine. But his mother, Natalia Ramirez, passed away. So Jens, puts on his wings and flies there, right? He comes walking in, Marco, Marco, right? Now his concern for his son is 100%. And he's just trying to console him. And oh, Marco's blaming himself that, oh my, she reached out to me and I ignored her. And she goes, because when she's drinking and she's drunk, she does that often. And he goes, you had no way of knowing, son. And he goes, I was on my way there. And they're sitting down. He says, I was on my way there. And then I saw the fire. And Jens looks at him. He goes, fire? What fire? Charlie's pub was on fire. And I went inside and I rescued Christina Corinthos. And Jens had turned his head and his lip is quivering. He goes, you could have died, son. You could have died tonight. Oh, that meant something to you, Jens. He's like, and I said, yeah, see, Marco actually, instead of being fine, I wish they would have made his arm be burned or something. So he's bandaged up and got it in a sling, right? So his father would be, how badly? Yeah, there you go. That's what your actions did, Jen Sidwell. So Marco says, but this is all Sonny Corinthos' fault. And Jen's head was turned. Sonny Corinthos? What does Sonny Corinthos have to do with the death of your mother? Marco's getting ready to tell Sidwell about Sonny getting ready to relocate Natalia. Watch. Yep, that's exactly what's going to happen. So anyway, I know Sidwell, in his mind, he's going to consider Sonny striking first blood against Natalia, right? Because he's going to probably try to do a timeline and say, oh no, when your mother was texting you, he's going to be thinking the arsons hadn't struck yet. Yeah, see, come on now. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Then we had Tracy. Brooklyn tells Tracy that deception is going to be in trouble, could be in trouble. Natalia told her, blah, blah, blah. The second installment of Sonny's money came from a different account. And Tracy's like, I told you. She goes, yes, you did, Granny. This is all my fault. I am so sorry. She goes, this is not your fault. This is that criminal Sonny Corinthos' fault. And so she says, Well, Granny, it was a clerical error. That's what Natalia said. And Sonny didn't know anything about it. She goes, oh, no, Don't matter that he didn't know anything about it. He knows his business is illegal. So, and that's going to make us culpable to him. We are going to be in trouble like he is in trouble. We could lose everything because he's laundering his money through our business. So Brooklyn says, oh no, we need to bury this deep. Tracy says, absolutely not. You and I are going to go to the police and we're going to come clean. And we should get off light. They should make a deal with us. Now, here's the deal. Tracy is on the right track. But should the two of them go to the police? Whatever happened to all those Quartermain high-powered attorneys that we have never seen? Whatever happened to them? Because they absolutely should not be going to the police on their own. The way ADA Turner would turn everything up. Heck no, they need a lawyer present. So anyway, Brooklyn says, no, I can't do that, Granny. She goes, oh, would you stop with the loyalties for Sonny Corinthos and be loyal to your family and and your company? She goes, I'm not just thinking of me. Uncle Sonny is the only person in this family, or in the family that Geo is still speaking to. If I do that, he will never speak to me again. So Tracy says, okay, I can see you want to protect your son. Okay. You don't do it, then I'll do it. I'll do it all by myself. I'm gonna take great pleasure in bringing down Sonny Corinthos, right? And so she goes, well, I mean, like if you do what you must, right? And Tracy's just reveling in it. And then Chase comes walking in, and Tracy says, fine, finally, the great PCPD, the detectives of the great PCPD walk in at the right time. And Chase is like, what's going on? She goes, I have something I need to tell you. And Chase says, I have something I need to tell you too. Brooklyn goes, you go first, honey. You go first. And he goes, there was a fire at Charlie's pub, and Christina Corinthos was caught in that fire. Now, and they're like, what? He goes, she made it out safe. Marco Rios rescued her. But, you know, Charlie's went down in flames. And so Tracy says, oh, that's it. That is it. Yet another one of Sonny's enemies trying to take out his family. I'm calling Gio right now. And Brooklyn looked at her and says, oh no, Gio has to stay away. I'm calling him to come here, as if he would do that. He has to stay away from Sonny Corinthos at all costs. I am not going to let Sonny Corinthos be the cause of why we lose another family member. So we don't know what else Chase is going to say, but then he does tell him that Natalia Ramirez was found dead of an apparent overdose. And they're like, oh my God, huh? So the conversation is left there. We don't know what Tracy, if she in fact is going to tell Chase, or what the deal is. So anyway, Anna comes, she talks to Sonny, and she tells him about Natalia found dead in her hotel room. And Sonny's like, okay, that's a shame, but why are you telling me? She goes, well, you and Natalia were close. He goes, were? And she says, she showed up to your granddaughter's christening today. And he goes, she was there offering her congratulations. Right? And she says, well, witnesses are saying she didn't look happy. He goes, I don't know what they saw, but she was there congratulating me. And then she left. So then Anna takes her phone out. She says, okay, if that's it, then why? And she shows the surveillance from the Metro Court. See, nobody thought to call Spinelli. Why was your man earlier that day seen talking to Natalia outside her hotel door? Because Natalia had the door open and she's talking to the guy the first time when he's saying that they had needed to leave. And Sonny just looked. He goes, do I need to call my lawyer? She says, I don't know. Do you need to call your lawyer? And then she goes, and then another one of your bodyguards was seen knocking on her door multiple times with no answer. But then when he heard someone coming up, because look, they didn't announce themselves PCPD from around the corner. When he heard us come up, he conveniently got away from the door. So Sonny's just looking at her. She goes, I'm going to have to take you down for questioning. And he's just looking. So he's going to call Diane. 100% he's going to call Diane. Killer Miller, she does get a lot of work from that family, doesn't she? So we'll see where and how that goes. Because like I said, as far as the bodyguard, see, I don't know about how you're going to explain the one from earlier talking to her. But the one after the christening would be, I had him take her back to the Metro Court because I smelled alcohol, and I the same whole, like I said, trying to save her from another DWI. That could have been the excuse for that one, right? But the one that they got now, the first one, yeah, we'll see. We shall see. So anyway, it does look like, a lot of things right now are mounting against Sonny. We've got Sidwell and his escalation. We have now Marco accusing Sonny. We have the laundered money from the second transaction from the Tracy Inn. So we have some things coming up that are going to prove difficult. But see, here's the funny thing, everybody. How do we know that second transaction came from a different account? Natalia's the only one that said she found that. Did Sonny ever have his accountants verify that they sent the money from a different account? See, Natalia was the one that told Brooklyn, and she actually told Sonny it came from a different account than the first one. And I didn't catch it. Well, chick, why are you the CFO? You didn't catch it. What was that? But all of this is stuff that Natalia has said. What happens, and this is what should happen, because Sonny should have that evidence, right? Brick should have been able to recreate what happened, recreate documents, recreate a trail. And if Brick all of a sudden doesn't know how to do it, Spinelli can. And point that information to the right account. That could have been done lickety-split if they were thinking on their feet like they should be. I don't get it. But everything is just so haphazard right now. I'm not liking this. I mean, come on now. I'm not a criminal. But even I could come up with a better master plan. Come on now. So anyway, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Do you notice we haven't been bored to tears with the Drew and Willow hour? Now watch them be on tomorrow's show just because I said that. But we're not seeing them 24/7. Another reason, because I'm still of the impression Willow's the one stalking little Miss Daisy, right? But by them not showing timelines with her and Drew, her and Nina, none of that. See, this is how it's given her time to do it because we don't know. We haven't seen her. So anyway, that'll be interesting. All right, everybody. By the way, I started something new today. It is called GH Pulse Check. Now with GH Pulse Check, I will periodically throw out a topic and I will ask you, how do you feel the writers should write this story? Which way, which direction should they take a story, take a character? Now, and I've got some great comments. So those of you that love to read comments, please read the comments for GH Pulse Check from today. I did one. Now, I'm not going to say what the topic is because I need you all to keep the comments separate. When I do a post check topic, only comment on that. I did get a couple comments that were completely unrelated, and I had to remind one, I had to delete, but I had to remind the other. This is not on the topic of the post check. Please put your comment in the daily recap section. So please don't comment from post check over into the daily recap, and don't comment from daily recap onto post check. Keep them separate. This way we won't get a lot of redundancy that way. These topics are different, everybody. Okay? So I look forward to really getting needy. And it was so good to just hear your real thoughts on why you don't want something to happen or why you do. So I'm really excited about that. Now let's go to comment corner. And today, let's see, what did I do last time for comment corner? Last time I went from the bottom up. Today I'm going to scroll down to the middle because once again, let's see, once again we have, how many? Where's my comments? We have, I'm trying to move this up. The comments up a bit. There we go. Today, excellent. We have almost 200 comments, 198. 198 in comments. So I'm just going to take my mouse and look, I'm scrolling down on the mouse, everybody. I'm not even looking. And this is what I do. I scroll to what I think is in the middle. I stop, and this is where I start. Okay, it is completely random. I had a comment saying, you didn't read my comments from blah, 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 blah. That's because it's random. I either read 5 minutes from the bottom down, bottom up, 5 minutes from the top down, or I go to the middle and go down. So at 198 comments, let's face it, I'm only going to read probably 10 comments in 5 minutes, maybe a little more, depending on how much I talk. So logically, your comments may be missed by me reading them, but your comment is not missed by the people in comment corners. You all read each other's, you're good at that, reading each other's commenting and commenting on it. Okay, so chill. If I don't get your comment today, it's not because I want to miss your comment. See, here's the deal. The reason why I scroll and keep it random, this way people can't say I have favorites, that I read only my favorites comments. That's not it. It's completely random. Yes, I read your comment, but not on screen. I read the comments and push like now. You see likes by your comments, except when you kind of do them later because I can't tell who replies to something. But anyway, let's start right now. I'm starting my trusty dusty stop watch. Sarah says, now that's proof Christina is crazy. She knew the bar was dosed with gas and still put out a mini fire extinguisher and just stood around. Yep, I'm with you. Leah said this and a happy smiley face. Yep. And I think it's Lexia says, Christina is a bona fide airhead. And then Okay, Sarah, you did a lot of great comments. I'm going to keep scrolling till I can get to someone else because we've only got 5 minutes. We have Kadeen says Sidwell is scared some clue of wrongdoing might be in one of the contracts. Yep. Sidwell protests too much. Yeah, he knew it. He just felt Marco would let it all slide. And then Kadeen said the footage will prove that Paul didn't enter to hurt Natalia. Yep, because he's been knocking and requesting that they leave. Now, it does not sound like the footage has any sound, right? And the one that they showed earlier talking to Christina, he didn't go, I mean, talking to Natalia, they didn't necessarily show him coming in, but remember, one did come in and used her key when he took the guy that took her back from the christening. He used her key and walked her in and gave her the key right inside the door, right? So we shall see. Wendy says, OMG, can't believe Calamity Jane, AKA Christina, tried to help herself. I was wrong. She stood up and watched the fire. Exactly. She's so unremarkable. Poor Michael probably has PTSD. I'm glad he had that conversation with Sasha. He's not healed completely, physically or emotionally. Hopefully, this will bring them closer. Sidwell is low down after Sonny's children, going after Sonny's children. He doesn't care about anything, just money. Sonny might need to retire. He's getting caught slipping quite often these days. Security is nowhere to be found, or security is lame. Sonny and Jason were in public the whole time. All this was doing is hopefully, I mean, while this was all going on, hopefully it will help. His lame security guys needs to leave town ASAP. Get Spinelli to work miracles. Yep, they should have. And then I'm going to go down to Magdalena says, hello, Daily Recap lady. Today's episode, Sunny is going to get blamed for Natalia's dying. War is coming. Sidwell is going to be in Awakening. Michael has two flashbacks. Alexis did the right thing interface in reference to Sidwell. I like the interaction between Michael and Sasha. Well, that's all for now. Keep tuning in. Thanks for doing this for the fans. 60-year-old watching GH. Blessings, Maggie. All right. Thanks, Maggie. Terry says, seriously, Christina forgot there was a back door in her bar. So Marco had to go through the flames, save her pathetic, save her pathetic writing, GH. Well, here's the thing. Marco would not have known where the back door is. Remember, Marco just said he saw a parked car in the parking lot. He naturally would come to the front. And even if he would have came to the back, that back door would have been locked. So Christina would have had to walk back to the back door to unlock it to let him in. She could have walked out. But anyway, here and there, she could have walked out a long time ago. So no, Marco had to come through the front. Oh, and by the way, everybody, I read a whole lot of comments from those of you that have blankets in your cars, especially those of you, where it snows in your state. Well, see, I'm here in sunny California. But a blanket, I guess, I don't know. It ain't gonna save you in a wildfire, but it could help you get out. If it's a fire resistant blanket, it can help you get out. Like it helped Marco get Christina out of there. Anyway, let's see. And then Cece says, that's so true. Alexis is trying to act brand new. She was Sonny's attorney at the time. She threw herself at him and got pregnant. She sure did. And then Deborah says, I grew up in here we go, cold Michigan. So we always had at least one blanket and a foldable army shovel in our car in case we got stuck in the snow. There you go. There you go. Excellent, excellent. And then Uki says, man, good help is hard to find. Sonny needs to clean house. Incompetence, so irritating. I am with you on that. And then Sarah says, think how good Max and Milo were for Sonny. They were great. Max and Milo and Frank too. Where the heck is Frank? What happened? Now he has Paul and Keith bumbling around. That is so true. And then Rosebud says, this is the last comment. Whose name's on the safety deposit box in case uh if at the bank they put a hold on the box until after probate when someone dies. I know it should be hers, but they would have to notify the bank. But look, if Sonny hasn't already had somebody go into that bank, into that safety deposit box, then I'm through with his ability to get his tracks covered. 100% through with that. So, Patty says, last week when Natalia gave Sonny the key to the safety deposit box, do you really think Sonny or anybody else would wait until now to get the evidence? It better have been done then. Out of there and destroy it. Do you think Sonny's been running around gunning in Port Charles for 30 years because he's stupid? Well, look, we'll see what the writers do because they're making him stupid. This man is becoming stupid. There we go. Lazy and quite unprepared. But not Sonny. Wait, what man? His men are becoming stupid, lazy, and not prepared. Nah, Sonny too. Because it would have had to have been Sonny to give the order to his men to go get the stuff out the box. Or actually, Jason should have taken over and known to go do that. Right? He already got that evidence. He better have. And then Rosebud said, excuse me, something went down wrong. Would make too much sense, sure. What she gave him before he flies her out of PC. Oh, yeah, goodness. Yeah, make sure it works before he lets her go. That is so true. All right, everybody, that's it for Comment Corner. Comment Corner. I went 8 minutes on there. I will be back tomorrow with another daily recap of General Hospital.